Paula Deen's Scandals, a complete timeline. Embattled celebrity chef Paula Deen is hoping to clear her name in an all-new documentary, fittingly titled Cancelled, The Paula Deen Story. From filmmaker Billy Corben, Cocaine Cowboys. The feature, which premiered at the 2025 Toronto International Film Festival, puts the spotlight on Deen, her signature Southern charm and ardent love for heaping amounts of butter. But it also attempts to do some damage control for Deen, who continues to reel from a bombshell 2013 deposition that soured her reputation and impacted her business hard. Let's dive into Deen's career downfall, along with her first attempt at a television comeback. Everything leads up to the release of her documentary, which also includes a rather brutal moment. March 2012, Deen and her brother are sued for racial discrimination and sexual harassment. Lisa Jackson, a former general manager of Deen's Savannah, Georgia, restaurant Uncle Bubba's Seafood and Oyster House, files a $1.2 million lawsuit against Deen, Deen's brother, Earl Bubba Hires, aka Uncle Bubba, and other corporate entities. The plaintiff, who is white, alleges racial discrimination against black employees and sexual harassment by Deen's brother. October 13, 2012, Deen defends slavery. A clip from Deen's appearance on Who Do You Think You Are is spotlighted during a 2012 Times talk Deen did with New York Times reporter Kim Severson. In it, Deen visits a plantation that was once owned by a distant ancestor of hers named Billy. In conversation with Severson, Deen says the abolition of slavery was a terrific change but goes on to justify the system. Per a recap by HuffPost, Deen says, Black folk were such integral part of our lives, they were like our family, which is why we didn't see ourselves as being prejudiced. She refrains from using the term slaves, instead referring to them as these people or workers. We're all prejudiced against one thing or another, Deen continues. I think black people feel the same prejudice that white people feel. June 19, 2013, Deen admits to using a racial slur. Over a year after the lawsuit was filed, Deen sits for a video deposition. In it, she admits to using the N-word, saying, "Yes, of course," when asked by Jackson's lawyer. But that's just not a word that we use as time has gone on. Things have changed since the 60s in the South, Deen adds, per the transcript obtained by NBC News. And my children and my brother object to that word being used in any cruel or mean behavior. As well as I do. Furthermore, Deen's lawyer, Bill Franklin of the Savannah-based law firm Oliver Manor LLP, says in a statement, contrary to media reports, Ms. Deen does not condone or find the use of racial epithets acceptable. She is looking forward to her day in court. Deen also says she doesn't know what kinds of jokes minority communities might find offensive. June 19, 2013. Deen says she wants slaves to serve dinner in a true Southern plantation-style wedding. Racist comments that Deen made while planning her brother's wedding in February 2007 are made public. I want a true Southern plantation-style wedding, Deen allegedly told Jackson, who was in charge of food and serving arrangements for the grand occasion. Well, what I would really like is a bunch of little N *********** to wear long-sleeve white shirts, black shorts and black bow ties. You know, in the Shirley Temple days, they used to tap dance around, Deen said. Now that would be a true Southern wedding, wouldn't it? But we can't do that because the media would be on me about that. During her deposition, Deen responds to the allegations. I remember telling them about a restaurant that my husband and I had recently visited. And I'm wanting to think it was in Tennessee or North Carolina or somewhere. And it was so impressive. The whole entire wait staff was middle-aged black men, and they had on beautiful white jackets with a black bow tie. I mean, it was really impressive. And I remember saying I would love to have servers like that, I said, but I would be afraid somebody would misinterpret. That restaurant represented a certain era in America. After the Civil War, during the Civil War, before the Civil War. It was not only black men, it was black women. I would say they were slaves, she continues. Deen denies using the N-word to describe the restaurant's servers, because that's not what these men were. They were professional black men doing a fabulous job. June 21, 2013, Deen abruptly cancels Today interview. Deen backs out of her sit-down interview with Matt Lauer. Dean's public relations team says that the abrupt cancellation was due to exhaustion. She later apologizes for her no-show in a video posted on YouTube. That video was soon deleted and replaced with a self-made video, in which Deen once again issued an apology, CNN reported. "I want to apologize to everybody for the wrong that I've done," Deen says in the first video statement. "I want to learn and grow from this. Inappropriate and hurtful language is totally unacceptable. I've made plenty of mistakes along the way, but I beg you, my children, my team, my fans, my partners, I beg for your forgiveness." In her self-made video, Deen says, "I'm taking this opportunity now that I've pulled myself together and am able to speak to offer an apology to those that I have hurt. My family and I are not the kind of people the press are wanting to say we are," she continues. "Your color, your religion, your sexual preference does not matter to me. But it's what's in the heart, and my family and I try to live by that." June 21, 2013, Deen is dropped by the Food Network. The Food Network makes the bombshell decision not to renew Deen's contract. The announcement comes only a few days after the network said it would monitor Deen's situation in the wake of her deposition, emphasizing that it does not tolerate any form of discrimination, per CNN. Deen had 3 cooking shows on Food Network: Paula's Home Cooking, Paula's Best Dishes, and Paula's Party. "I have had the pleasure of being allowed into so many homes across the country and meeting people who have shared with me the most touching and personal stories," Deen says in a statement to CNN. "This would not have been possible without the Food Network. Thank you again. Love and best dishes to all of y'all." June 24, 2013, Deen reschedules her Today interview. Deen is scheduled to make her appearance on June 26th. The news is confirmed by Laura. "She has told us she will be here this time." June 26, 2013, Deen asserts she is not a racist. During her interview with Laura, Deen says, "I am not a racist. I believe that every one of God's creatures was created equal. I believe that everyone should be treated equal. That's the way I was raised and that's the way I live my life." She claims that she's used the N-word only once to describe an incident that took place in 1986, when she allegedly was held at gunpoint by a black man. "The incident was the only time in my 66 years on Earth had I ever used it," Deen says, which is contrary to her deposition, in which she said she was sure she'd used the racial slur multiple times in her life. If there's anyone out there that has never said something that they wish they could take back, if you're out there, please pick up that stone and throw it so hard at my head that it kills me. Please, I want to meet you, Deen says toward the tail end of her interview. "I is what I is and I'm not changing." June 26, 2013. Deen is dropped by Caesars Entertainment Corporation, Walmart, and more. Caesars Entertainment Corporation, a casino and hotel company that operated 4 Deen-themed buffets at various locations, ends its relationship with Deen less than 2 hours after her Today interview. While we appreciate Paula's sincere apologies for statements she made in her past that she recently disclosed during a deposition given in response to a lawsuit, after thoughtful consideration of their impact, we have mutually decided that it is in the best interests of both parties to part ways at this time. Jan Jones Blackhurst, who served as Executive Vice President of Communications and Government Affairs for Caesars Entertainment at the time, says in a statement obtained by ETA. Walmart soon follows suit, saying it will no longer sell Deen's products. Smithfield Foods also ends its partnership with Deen. June 28, 2013, Deen is dropped by QVC. QVC also parts ways with Deen. Mike George, the company's former president and CEO, says in a statement that Paula won't be appearing on any upcoming broadcasts and we will phase out her product assortment on our online sales channels over the next few months. We all think it's important, at this moment, for Paula to concentrate on responding to the allegations against her and on her path forward. Some of you may wonder whether this is a forever decision, whether we are simply ending our association with Paula. We don't think that's how relationships work. People deserve second chances. And we always strive to do the right thing. Target, Home Depot, and Sears also cut ties with Deen. July 24, 2013, Deen faces more allegations. In an interview with the New York Times, Dora Charles, one of Deen's restaurant employees, alleges that Deen asked her and another longtime employee to dress in an old-style Aunt Jemima outfit. Charles also claims that Deen asked her to ring an iron dinner bell in front of the Lady and Sons, Deen's flagship Savannah-based restaurant. When it opened at 11 a.m., I said, "I'm not ringing no bell," Charles tells The Times. "That's a symbol to me of what we used to do back in the day." April 3rd, 2014. Deen closes Uncle Bubba's Seafood and Oyster House. The closure is announced via Facebook. However, restaurant employees say they weren't told ahead of time that the restaurant was closing, and they would lose their jobs. The Facebook post read as follows, per CBS News. Since its opening in 2004, Uncle Bubba's Oyster House has been a destination for residents and tourists in Savannah, offering the region's freshest seafood and oysters. However, the restaurant's owner and operator, Bubba Ayers, has made the decision to close the restaurant in order to explore development options for the waterfront property on which the restaurant is located. At this point, no specific plans have been announced and a range of uses are under consideration in order to realize the highest and best use for the property. The closing is effective today, Thursday, April 3rd, 2014. Employees will be provided with severance based on position and tenure with the restaurant. All effort will be made to find employees comparable employment with other Savannah restaurant organizations. July 7th, 2015. Deen posts a photo of her son in brown face. Deen posts a photo of herself and her son, Bobby, dressed as Lucy and Ricky Ricardo from the 1950s sitcom I Love Lucy. In it, Bobby's face is visibly painted several shades darker, leading to accusations of brown face. In a statement issued by a spokeswoman, Deen apologizes to all who were offended, CNN reported. She also blames a social media manager for posting the image. As such, PaulaDeen Ventures has terminated their relationship with this social media manager, per the statement. January 16th, 2018, Deen makes her television comeback. Deen returns to cooking television with her series, Positively Paula, which will air for 2 seasons on RFD TV. August 1st, 2025, Deen closes The Lady and Sons and the Chicken Box. In a post made on Facebook and her official website, Deen announces the closures of The Lady and Sons and the Chicken Box, a fried chicken restaurant also based in Savannah. "Hey, y'all, my sons and I made the heartfelt decision that Thursday, July 31st, was the last day of service for The Lady and Sons and the Chicken Box," her message reads. "Thank you for all the great memories and for your loyalty over the past 36 years. We have endless love and gratitude for every customer who has walked through our doors. We are equally grateful to our incredible staff, past and present, whose hard work, care, and hospitality made The Lady and Sons what it was." The post continues, saying, Deen and her family will focus their attention on the 4 Paula Deen's family kitchen locations across the country, in Pigeon Forge, Myrtle Beach, Nashville, and Branson. "We're excited to continue visiting these restaurants regularly, starting with Branson on August 8th. September 6th, 2025, Deen slams the late Anthony Bourdain. In Cancelled, The Paula Deen Story, Deen revisits her spar with the late Anthony Bourdain. God rest his soul. "I felt like he didn't like anybody. Not even himself, maybe," she says in the documentary. "I don't know what he was off in these foreign countries eating. Bat brains, or something like that. I think I'll just stick with my fried chicken." Deen continues her jab. Clips of Deen and Bourdain's feud are shown throughout the feature. In one instance, Bourdain criticizes Deen's style of cooking, saying, "This is not Southern food she's been selling. Her brand has been, all these years, novelty food," as reported by Entertainment Weekly. In an old appearance on The Joy Behar Show, Deen responds to Bourdain, "Let me tell you something, girlfriend. Maybe my food is bad for you, but I don't go around eating or serving unwashed anuses of wildebeests."